Hey America, buckle up. We're about to dive into the roller coaster that is veterans healthcare. It's a system on the brink of a major overhaul, folks. New bills, new promises, and of course a whole lot of political football to go around. At the heart of it all is the Complete the Mission Act of 2024. This isn't just some bland bureaucratic jargon, no sir. This act has the potential to dramatically reshape how millions of veterans access healthcare. Think of it as a system upgrade, but for something way more important than your phone's operating system. We're talking about the men and women who put their lives on the line for this country. They deserve a healthcare system that works and works well. But as with most things in Washington, the devil is in the details. So, let's break it down, shall we? We'll unpack the good, the bad, and the potentially ugly of these proposed changes. Because when it comes to our veterans, we owe them nothing less than the whole damn truth. Now, to understand this whole complete the mission thing, we've got to rewind a bit. Back in 2018, the Mission Act first dipped its toes into the waters of privatization. It expanded something called community care. The idea was simple. If the VA can't see a veteran within a certain time frame, or if they live too far from a VA facility, they can get care from private doctors. Sounds reasonable, right? Well, like a deep-fried Oreo, it's a bit more complicated than it sounds. On paper, community care aims to give veterans more choice and faster access to care. But critics worry it's a sneaky way to funnel money away from VA hospitals and into the hands of private companies. And as we all know, when private companies smell profit, things can get a little messy. Think of it like letting a raccoon loose in a candy store. Sure, it might be cute at first, but someone's going to end up with a sugar rush and a hefty cleaning bill. Okay, so what does this Complete the Mission Act actually do? What are the promises written on this paper? Well, it takes the whole community care concept and cranks it up to 11. Essentially, it aims to provide veterans with more options for their healthcare needs. We're talking about permanent access standards, meaning veterans could be reliant on private care indefinitely. This could be a game changer for those who live far from VA facilities or need specialized care. The act also demands more transparency in wait times at VA facilities. No more guessing games about how long you'll have to wait for an appointment. No more hiding behind bureaucratic red tape. The aim is to cut through the layers of paperwork and make the process smoother for veterans. The idea is to empower veterans with the information they need to make informed choices about their care. And there's more. It's not just about medical care. It's about giving veterans control over their health decisions. The act aims to streamline substance abuse treatment for veterans. This is crucial because many veterans struggle with addiction and need specialized support. Because let's face it, coming home from war can be hell, and sometimes you need more than a parade and a thank you for your service to cope. The act recognizes this and aims to provide comprehensive support. These are just a few of the key provisions, and on the surface, they sound pretty good. But how will they be implemented? Who wouldn't want faster access to care, more transparency, and better mental health support? These are all things that could significantly improve the quality of life for veterans. But remember folks, we're talking about the government here. Promises on paper are one thing, but actual implementation is another. Their track record for smooth and efficient implementation is, well, let's just say it leaves a lot to be desired. So while the Complete the Mission Act has noble intentions, only time will tell if it can deliver on its promises. Unsurprisingly, this act has ignited a firestorm of debate. Supporters, mainly Republicans, are waving the flag of progress, praising the expansion of choice and flexibility. They argue that it's about time veterans had more control over their health care. But hold on a second, critics, mostly Democrats, are sounding the alarm bells, warning that this is just a thinly veiled attempt to dismantle the VA healthcare system from within. They argue that shifting more money to private providers could starve the VA of resources, leading to staff shortages, program cuts, and ultimately, worse care for veterans. It's like trying to fix a leaky faucet by ripping out the entire plumbing system and hoping for the best. Who's right? Well, as with most things in life, the truth likely lies somewhere in the murky middle. But one thing's for sure, this debate is far from over. Section 5. A lifeline for rural veterans, bridging the gap in care. Now, one group that could see significant benefits from the Complete the Mission Act are rural veterans. We're talking about the folks who live miles away from the nearest VA facility. Imagine having to drive for hours, maybe even a whole day just to see a doctor. It's enough to make you stay home and self-medicate with moonshine and old war stories. Community care aims to change that by giving rural veterans the option to see private doctors closer to home. No more cross-country road trips just to get a checkup. This could be a game changer for rural veterans who have long felt neglected by the system. But of course, the devil is always in the details. Will there be enough quality providers in rural areas to meet the demand? And will these private doctors be equipped to handle the unique needs of veterans like PTSD and traumatic brain injury? Those are questions that still need answers. Section 6. Voices from the front lines. Veterans share their hopes and fears. In this segment, we delve deep into the hearts and minds of those who have served our country, exploring their dreams, concerns, and the realities they face every day. But enough from the talking heads in Washington. It's time to shift our focus from the policymakers to the real heroes. Let's hear from the people who matter most, the veterans themselves. Their voices, their stories, and their experiences are what truly matter. And let me tell you folks, their opinions are as diverse as their experiences. From different walks of life, each veteran brings a unique perspective to the table. Some veterans, especially those in rural areas, are cautiously optimistic. They see new opportunities and hope for better access to care. They see community care as a long overdue solution to the challenges they faced for years. Finally, they feel like their voices are being heard. I used to spend a whole day driving to the VA, one veteran told us. The long journeys were exhausting and often discouraging. Now I can see a doctor right here in my town. It's a lifesaver. This change has brought a sense of relief and convenience that was long overdue. But other veterans are wary, even angry. They fear that these changes might come at a cost. They fear that privatization will erode the quality of care they've come to rely on at the VA. The VA has been a lifeline for many. The VA saved my life, another veteran shared. The emotional connection and trust built over years are irreplaceable. They understand what I've been through in a way that private doctors just don't. The specialized care and understanding at the VA are unmatched. I'm worried about what will happen if they start dismantling the VA. The uncertainty is causing a lot of anxiety among veterans. These are just a few voices among millions. Each veteran has a story, a concern, and a hope for the future, and their stories highlight the complexity of this issue. The debate is far from simple, and the stakes are incredibly high. There are no easy answers, no one-size-fits-all solutions. But by listening to these voices, we can start to understand the depth and breadth of the challenges they face. Section 7. The price of change. Can we afford to complete the Mission Act? This is a question that has been on the minds of many, especially those who are directly impacted by the proposed changes. Now let's talk about everyone's favorite subject, money. It's the driving force behind so many decisions, and healthcare is no exception. Because let's be honest folks, we could have the best healthcare plan in the world, but if we can't pay for it, it's about as useful as a screen door on a submarine. The costs can be overwhelming, and without proper funding, even the most well-intentioned plans can fall apart. And that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? How do we balance the need for comprehensive healthcare with the reality of our financial limitations? Can we afford to complete the Mission Act? This legislation promises to overhaul the current system, but at what cost? Supporters say yes, arguing that it will actually save money in the long run by reducing inefficiencies and eliminating waste. They believe that a more streamlined system will lead to better outcomes for veterans and lower overall costs. But critics scoff at that notion, pointing out that private healthcare is notoriously expensive. They argue that the initial costs could be astronomical, and that the savings might not materialize as promised. They warn that diverting funds to private providers could blow a hole in the federal budget bigger than Ted Cruz's love for Cancun during a Texas snowstorm. So, who's right? The debate is heated, and both sides present compelling arguments. Well, as with most things in government, the answer is probably more complicated than a game of 4D chess played by a room full of caffeinated monkeys. The intricacies of healthcare funding and policy are vast and often bewildering. We'll have to wait and see how the numbers shake out. The true impact of the Complete the Mission Act will only become clear over time as the financial and healthcare landscapes evolve. But one thing's for sure, we can't afford to gamble with veterans' healthcare. Their well-being is paramount, and any changes to the system must prioritize their needs above all else. Section 8. The Uncertain Future of VA Healthcare, a Balancing Act. So, Where does this all leave us? The future of VA healthcare hangs in the balance. The Complete the Mission Act represents a significant gamble, a leap of faith into the unknown. Will it deliver on its promises of better access, more choice, and improved quality of care? Or will it lead to the dismantling of the VA healthcare system as we know it? The answer, my friends, is blowing in the wind. But one thing is certain, we can't afford to sit back and let the politicians decide the fate of our veterans. We need to stay informed, stay engaged, and hold our elected officials accountable for the promises they make. Section 9. Your voice, your healthcare. Stay informed, stay engaged. Veterans, your voices matter. This is your healthcare we're talking about. Don't let the politicians and bureaucrats make decisions in a vacuum. Make your voices heard. Contact your representatives, attend town halls, write letters to the editor, and for the rest of us, let's not forget the sacrifices these men and women have made. Support organizations that advocate for veterans' healthcare. Educate yourselves on the issues. And most importantly, treat veterans with the respect and dignity they deserve. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about politics or money. It's about honoring our nation's sacred promise to those who have served. And that's the end of our show tonight, folks. Go out there and make some noise. Our veterans are counting on us.